Yep, here it is.
Perfect. And you guys have 10 minutes, okay?
Okay. All right. So how did you guys get involved with Held?
So I met Chris and Travis like in a crazy kind of happenstance way up in Fresno, and we started working on the script from there. I pitched the idea and they seemed really into it. So we worked on writing the script and developing it together. And, it kind of just all came together in a really, really special, like magical kind of way.
For me, I met Chris and Travis at Sundance a couple years ago. And when this project came up, they said that they had this really interesting character that they thought might be really interesting for me. And they said, we want to put you in a room with Jill and see how things go. So Jill and I met at a theater in LA, and we read through the script, and we just felt like these characters came off the page, and we really enjoyed the organic emotions that we felt in the room just from a cold read. So I think that was kind of, at that point I was in. I was totally in.
And Joe, I wanted to ask you about kind of the influences on your script, because I was talking to Chris and Travis, and it started off like a typical home invasion kind of thing, and then it kind of got much more deeper into genres like The Prisoner or The Stepford Wives. Like, if you fall in line, then you'll probably live a much happier life, so to speak. So I just wanted to know, how did you come up with that?
So when I started writing the script, the Me Too movement was well underway, and I was working on a play in Los Angeles that was dealing with the same themes of the Me Too movement. And so that was really where I started the script from. The first scenes that I wrote were in the middle of the script, where things are kind of at their most intense with them and their relationship dynamic and everything that's going on in the film. And so I really started from this place of, what is it to be a woman in a room controlled by men, and to have men controlling every aspect about what you're wearing and what you're doing, and smiling and saying thank you, and every little detail. And so I really started the whole seeds of the script really came from the Me Too movement and wanting to look at gender roles in that way.
And Bart, when you were reading the script, what were some of your kind of first takeaways or first impressions when you read the script?
Well, what I was really drawn to was the conflict for Henry. He's a married guy. He wants to stay married, and that to me spoke volumes. He's not just a jerk or this toxic, overbearing man. He's actually a really good guy with real feelings and wants to be wants to stay in a marriage, which is, I think, the good qualities. How he was going about it was obviously incredibly terrible and dangerous. But it was the conflict it was a real challenge to try to make those two objectives real for me. And I think that made Henry vulnerable. And to make someone kind of that evil and yet vulnerable was a real challenge. And I thought that made the character really interesting, and wanting to connect with my wife, but also hate my wife is an interesting conflict.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of a tense situation to kind of get yourself into. So were there any tense moments between you two on set while trying to get into character for this as well? Because I have to believe that has to come in play for your characters as well, just this chemistry or this torn chemistry.
I'll say definitely. Jill and I on set, we try to stay true to the emotion and true to the scene. So we didn't chat a lot and joke between scenes. We tried to stay in it and stay emotionally connected with what the scene was really about, which makes for really long days, because that could kind of get exhausting. But it makes it great to, when you start the scene and you're already there, you feel the conflict and you feel like an organic chemistry, good and bad, with your partner. Jill was terrific with that, and it's so nice to work with a writer of the script who understands that and has spent so much time thinking about this character and being there. So it was really a pleasure working with her.
And Jill, how about you?
It was really great. I mean, from the moment we first read together, it just was falling into place. And Bart brought so much vulnerability and heart to Henry. And there's a scene, the dinner scene, when they're sitting down to dinner together, and that scene just took on a life that didn't exist on the page, and it just became this incredibly heartbreaking moment. And watching Bart go through all of those emotions at the other end of the table just completely gutted me. And I wasn't even having to act in that moment. You're just literally like looking and responding to the human being that's right in front of you.
And this question is from both of you, the final one. Chris and Travis told me they had a special screening for the cast and crew of this on the big screen. And just how was it like seeing this movie on the big screen, seeing your work finally done and all of this payoff, and just especially on the big screen?
I mean, it's amazing. It's a dream come true, absolutely. And to see everyone's hard work. This was the most incredible crew. Every single member of the crew and every single member of the cast just was really bringing so much to this project, and was such a joy to work with. And then to see it all come together, as you said, on the big screen in particular, and the sound design and the music, and to see this story that had lived in my head for so long become real, was just an incredible experience.
We drove 5 hours out of LA to go to the screening at this little theater in the mountains, which was really cool. And because of COVID, we had to be very spaced out.
Right.
And so that meant we couldn't bring anybody. So the only people that were there were the cast and crew. So it did feel a little bit like we're back on set, and it made it really special. And we were all in it together on the shoestring budget through this film, which was a lot of work, and everybody put in a tremendous amount of effort. And then to be there to share that with them, and it was a really special night. Nothing's more special to me than watching Jill, because this is her creation, and she came up with these ideas and the characters and the story, and then got to live it and see it come together. And then Chris and Travis were so terrific about putting these pieces together with such limited resources and made such magic. And then Jill gets to watch it on the screen. I think I enjoyed it more for her than I did even for myself, to see it come together in such an incredible way. So it was a wonderful night.
Well, thank you so much for joining me at Infamous Horrors today. And I hope a lot of people see this, because I think it can be a real breakout moment for you too.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, AJ. Appreciate that.
All right. Have a great afternoon.
You too.
Thank you, AJ.
Thank you.